is Stacy.
And this is Leslie.
And we're back with another Rescue Ranch virtual classroom. And today we have some lizards with us. And we're going to talk a lot about some of their really cool adaptations. So here with me I have Mushy, and she is one of our bearded dragons. They get that name because this area down here, they can puff it out and turn it black. So it makes them look big and bad. It's kind of their way of scaring off predators. The dragon part of her name comes from all these little spikes and things that you see going down her side. Kind of makes her look like a dragon, but don't worry, she doesn't shoot fire like a dragon. So she's got a bunch of really neat things that are going to help her survive the environment that she comes from. She would be found in the desert of Australia. So she's one that's considered semi-arboreal, which means that she can crawl on the ground, but then she can also climb up trees. So she can go on the ground to find bugs and find food. She is an omnivore, so she's one that she would eat plants and meat. So the kind of plants she's going to get is different leaves and greens and things she can find. And then meat-wise, she would eat roaches or bugs, worms, crickets, grasshoppers, things like that. So she's gonna be on the ground looking for those things. She can even hide underground a little bit, or she can climb up in the trees if she needs to get away from predators and things that might be trying to come and get her. So she's got a bunch of other neat things too. She's got eyes on the side of her head. What that does, that helps her see all the way around. So she's gonna see predators coming behind her and know she's gotta get out of here, and she is gonna run as fast as she can to get away from them. She's got two little holes right here as well. These little holes are her ears. That's where she's gonna do all of her hearing. Then she does have nails. So those nails are what she uses to help her climb. And then her coolest part is her tail. So her tail serves a couple of different purposes. For one, her tail is something that's gonna help her be able to store food. So being in the desert, there's not always a lot of food they can find or a lot of water that they can find. So she's gonna be able to store fat and water in her tail. It's kind of like her snack tail. How cool would it be if you guys were able just to walk around and keep your Capri Suns and your Doritos in your little tail, and when you got hungry, you had something to eat. So she's got that to be able to help her those things, but it's also a big weapon for her. If something's trying to get her, she's gonna whack them with this tail really, really hard. And this tail is kind of long and skinny, so it's gonna feel like a whip. So it's gonna kind of sting whatever's trying to get her. And that's gonna help her be able to get away. She's not going to be able to drop her tail like some lizards can because it's her biggest way to defend herself. And that's something really important for her to be able to do. Now, she also is one that as she grows, her skin does not grow with her. She's going to shed her skin and she's going to have a new layer form. So she doesn't just go down to Target and get a new outfit because she outgrew her last one. She's going to be able to just shed her skin and have a new layer right there for her. She's going to do that about 1 to 2 times in a year as an adult. She doesn't do it super often anymore. So she is one of our neat ones. She's about 9 years old. We've had her for the past about 6 years. We've had her since we opened. And she's gotten taken care of really, really well. She does get her bugs every couple of days. She doesn't need bugs every day since she is full grown now, but she gets her vegetables. She gets a salad every single day. We do clean out her enclosure every day. So if she's pooped in there, we make sure that's taken out. We make sure her water is fresh and clean every day. And then we just make sure that she has things to climb on, things that she can, like a house in there that she can climb on that's going to help trim her nails for us. So we don't even have to worry about trimming that. She's got houses that kind of have like a concrete kind of feel to it that she can climb on. She's got a little tree she likes to plant in. And then one other neat thing I forgot to mention is with her, she can actually lighten her skin or darken her skin depending on what the temperature is outside. So she's cold-blooded. She's not going to be able to make her own body heat. She's going to get all of her body heat from the sun. So if she happens to be cold, she's going to darken her body, make it almost a dark black color to help attract more of that heat. However, once she gets warm, if she gets to be too hot, she's gonna lighten her body color to almost like an off-white to be able to help reflect some of that heat. Kind of like during the summertime, if you're outside and you're wearing a black shirt, you're gonna attract a lot more heat and get a lot hotter. That's what she's trying to do when she needs to warm up. So she's gonna be able to do that to be able to adjust her body temperature. She's also one that she would lay on rocks that are nice and warm to be able to warm up, or sit in the sun as she needs to be able to warm her body up. Just like we talked about in last week's video, we talked about hibernation and brumation. She can brumate, especially if she were to be in the wild and it were to drop down to a little too cold for her. She would go into a brumation state. And for more information on what brumation and hibernation is, check out that lesson from last week.
This is Jabba the Hutt, and he is our uromastyx. He is a lizard that you would naturally find in the deserts in the Middle Eastern part of the world. He's not one of the cool guys you would find in your backyard. But we've got some really neat adaptations that we're going to share with you guys. So I'm going to start with his tail and work our way up to his head bone. So uromastyx means tail whip in ancient Greek, and his tail is a really important part of his body for a couple different reasons. So if you look at his tail, you can actually see there's all these different spikes on it, and that's going to help to protect him. So not only does this tail look a little intimidating and tough, but he's going to use it to protect himself. So if a predator were walking by and they were really hungry, and even with all these spikes, they thought it looked delicious and tried to eat it, he's actually going to pop them. So he's going to use this tail to whack his predators, and it's going to feel like a punch. It's really thick and really strong. He also uses this tail to store extra nutrients. So being in the desert, it's really hard to find extra food and water. So he's able to store that extra fat and nutrients in his tail to help him keep going. He's not the kind of lizard that would drop his tail like some you might find in your backyard. So this tail is really important for him. Now moving along to his back, you can kind of see how he's got some green splotches all over him, the different coloration. That's going to help him to camouflage on the ground. So he is a terrestrial lizard, so he's not going to climb into trees or into bushes or anything like that. He's going to stay on the ground, and he's going to find protection in between different rocks and different crevices like that. And that different coloration is going to help him blend into his surroundings. His dark coloration is also really important. So just like Mushy, he's also a cold-blooded animal. So he's not going to be able to create his own body heat. He needs that heat from the sun. And this dark coloration is really going to help draw that sunlight onto his skin. With Jabba, he needs temperatures in his enclosure at about 120 degrees. So right now, on one side of his enclosure, it's about 120 degrees, and then it cools down as it goes to the other side where it's only about 80 degrees. So he needs those really warm temperatures, and this dark coloration is really gonna help with that. So let's move along to his head bone. He kind of looks like a frog. So if you look on the side of his head, you see these little flaps of skin here? Those are actually his ears. So being a terrestrial lizard and being so low to the ground, there's a lot of sand and dirt and rocks. And as he's trucking along and so low to the ground, it's likely that he might get some sand or something in his ears. But with those flaps of skin protecting him, that's not going to be an issue. So he can still hear and listen, but that skin's just going to protect from any grains or anything getting in there. He also has red eyes. I don't know if you can see that or not, but those red eyes, that dark color, is going to protect himself from that harsh sunlight. So it's kind of like having a permanent set of sunglasses on. Really light colored eyes are more susceptible to being burned or just not being healthy after being exposed to such strong light and heat. So I'm going to point out his clear nostrils. And I know that's a weird thing to point out, but these guys have something called snout that they get. So what it is being in the desert where there's a lot of sand, it's really salty. And if he gets any of that in his system from the foods that he eats or just being really low to the ground, his body is able to excrete all that extra salt. And what he's going to do is he's basically going to sneeze it out. But it can cause little white rings of salt around his nose that we just take a little washcloth and we just wipe it right off, which we did right before we started this video. So they're nice and clear now. But in the desert, what he's going to eat, he's actually an herbivore. So he's only going to eat plant matter. So he might find different cacti to eat or flowers, maybe some different greens, different things like that. They do not eat bugs. As an adult especially, the animal protein's not very good for them. It can cause some liver issues. So they stick to just fresh greens. So here at Rescue Ranch, he'll get a fresh salad every day with dark leafy green lettuce, as well as a variety of fruits and vegetables. He really likes squash and pepper, zucchini, different things like that. Raspberries are a special treat for him, but he also really likes flowers. So we'll pick fresh dandelions outside, as well as hibiscus flowers. He goes crazy for those. So it's really fun to add that different stuff into their variety. So you might see that he's got some nails on his little feet. So he, like I said earlier, he's not one that can climb, but to protect himself, he's gonna dig himself a little den in the sand. And what he's gonna do is he's gonna kick, 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 kick. So those little nails work like little tiny shovels just to be able to get all that stuff out of the way. Another really cool adaptation about Java and being a lizard from the desert is he actually doesn't need to drink any water. With proper care, if he's getting the proper hydration from the foods that he eats, his body won't require him to drink any actual water. So that's something that we keep an eye on with the different foods that we give him. Too much water on his body or in his system can actually cause fungal infections, and that's not something that you want on your uromastyx. But it's just a really, really cool thing that his body has been able to adapt to do.
So hopefully you guys learned a little bit more about our lizards today and about their special adaptations. As always, there's some fun activities and things posted on this page that we'd love for you guys to do. Make sure if you have any questions or want to share what you've been working on, you can always email education@rescueranch.com because we'd love to hear how you guys are interacting with everything we had. So until next time, we'll see you guys soon.